The sky had been quiet all morning. Too quiet. In a land where every sound meant something, silence was never just silence. It was a signal. A warning that something was watching, waiting, choosing the right moment. The tribe moved slowly through the open valley, gathering what they could. Roots, small animals, anything that meant survival for one more day. It was routine, controlled, familiar. But something was off. The wind wasn't carrying birdsong. No distant movement. No life above. And one of them noticed. He looked up. For a second, nothing. Just sky. Endless. Empty. And then it moved. Not fast at first. Just a shift. A shadow crossing the light. Large. Too large. And before his mind could process it, it dropped. The impact of air alone was violent. A force that pushed everything outward as something massive cut through the sky with precision. Wings wide, silent, controlled. It didn't scream. It didn't announce. It struck. Claws. Direct. Locking onto the body before there was time to react. The man didn't even have time to shout properly. The sound broke halfway, cut by shock, by speed, by something that had already decided the outcome before it even descended. The tribe froze. Not out of confusion, out of recognition. Because they knew this wasn't a normal predator. This was something else. Something that didn't chase on the ground. Something that chose from above. The Haast's eagle. It lifted, effortless. The weight didn't slow it the way it should. Massive wings pushing against the air with power that didn't feel real. The man struggled for a moment, instinct trying to fight something far beyond him. But it didn't matter. The claws didn't loosen. They tightened. Controlled. Exact. And within seconds, they were already higher. The tribe moved then. Too late. Always too late. They ran. Not toward it. But under it. Looking up. Trying to follow. Trying to understand. But the sky doesn't give second chances. The eagle climbed. Steady. Unchallenged. Carrying what it had chosen. And then, it turned. Not away, but toward the cliffs. And that's when something changed. Because one of them didn't stop. Didn't freeze. Didn't accept. He followed. Not because he thought he could win, but because he refused to end it like that. Through rocks. Through uneven ground. Through a path that wasn't meant to be followed. He kept going. Eyes locked on the sky. Tracking. Learning. Because for the first time, the hunt wasn't over. It had just begun. The valley was open, wide, and quiet in a way that didn't feel right. The tribe moved through it in small groups, focused on the ground, gathering what they could. It was a routine they knew well. Walk, watch, collect, move. Nothing wasted. Nothing rushed. In a world like that, survival came from paying attention to what was in front of you. But not everything comes from the ground. One of them stopped. Not because he saw something, but because he didn't. No birds. No distant calls. No movement in the sky. That absence meant something. He looked up. For a moment, nothing. Just light. Then a shadow crossed it. Fast. Too large. And before his body could react, it dropped. The air broke first. A heavy force pushing down, disturbing everything below. Then came the impact. Massive wings cutting through space with control that didn't make sense. No warning sound. No hesitation. Just precision. Claws. They hit with full force. Locked instantly. The man barely had time to move. His body lifted before his mind understood what was happening. A broken shout escaped him, cut short by shock, by speed, by something already decided. The rest of the tribe froze. They didn't need to see it clearly. They knew. That size. That silence. That power. It was not something you fought. It was something you avoided. The Haast's eagle. It rose again, just as fast as it had fallen. Wings spreading wide, catching the air with ease. The weight in its claws didn't slow it the way it should. It climbed. Steady. Controlled. The man struggled, instinct pushing him to fight. His arms moved, his body twisted, but it changed nothing. The grip didn't loosen. It tightened. The tribe moved then. Too late. Always after. They ran under it, eyes fixed on the sky, trying to follow something that didn't belong to the ground. Some shouted. Others just stared, but none could reach, because the sky had already taken him, and it wasn't giving him back. The eagle climbed higher, steady and controlled, carrying the man as if his weight meant nothing. Below, the tribe scattered, some running without direction, others stopping mid-step, unable to process what had just happened. But one didn't stop. He ran. Not away. Toward it. Eyes fixed on the sky, tracking every movement, every shift in direction. He didn't shout, didn't call the others. This wasn't something that could be solved with noise. This was something else. The ground was uneven, filled with rocks and dips hidden under thin layers of dust. His steps were fast, but not careless. He adjusted with each movement, keeping his balance, never losing sight of the shadow above. The eagle didn't rush. That was the worst part. It didn't need to. Its wings moved in slow, powerful strokes, cutting through the air with complete control. It wasn't escaping. It was going somewhere. And that meant one thing. There was a place, a point, a destination. The man understood that, and that changed everything. He wasn't chasing anymore. He was tracking. The path began to shift. The open valley started to rise, turning into uneven terrain. Rocks became larger, the ground less stable. This wasn't land meant to be crossed quickly. It was land that slowed you down. But the eagle didn't slow. It adjusted. Higher now. Closer to the cliffs ahead. The man pushed harder. Breathing heavier now, but controlled. He couldn't afford to lose sight. Not now. Not when he was starting to understand. The tribe behind him faded. Their voices gone. Their presence gone. This was no longer about the group. This was individual. The sky moved again. The eagle turned slightly. And that was the confirmation. It wasn't random. It was heading to a fixed place. The cliffs were closer now. Steep. Jagged. Impossible to climb quickly. And that's when something else became clear. If the eagle reached that height, there would be no way to follow. No way to reach. No second chance. The man didn't slow. Didn't hesitate. Because he already knew. If he stopped now, it was over. And for the first time in that world, he wasn't running from a predator. He was chasing one. The ground rose sharply as he reached the base of the cliffs. What had been open land turned into stone, broken and uneven. Loose rocks shifted under his feet, forcing every step to be placed with care. Above him, the eagle continued, closer now, but farther at the same time. It moved along the face of the cliff, wings adjusting with the wind, body stable, controlled. It didn't struggle. It didn't rush. It had done this before. Many times. The man stopped for a fraction of a second. Not to rest. To understand. There was no straight path up. No easy climb. Just narrow edges, cracks in the rock, places where a foot might hold, or might not. He looked up again. The man in the eagle's claws was still moving. Less now. Slower. But alive. That was enough. He started climbing. Hands first. Then feet. Testing every hold before shifting his weight. One mistake here wasn't a fall. It was the end. The stone was cold, rough against his skin, cutting slightly as he pulled himself upward. The wind hit harder against the cliff. Stronger. More unstable. It pushed against him, forcing his body closer to the rock, but he adjusted, pressed in, kept moving. Above, the eagle reached a ledge. Wide enough. Stable. A place hidden from below. That was it. The destination. It landed. Wings folding slowly, like nothing had happened. Like this was routine. The man saw it. And pushed faster. Not reckless. But urgent. He had one chance, one moment, before it finished what it started. His hand slipped once, just slightly, but he caught himself, adjusted, kept going, closer now, close enough to hear something. A low sound, not a roar, not a call, something quieter, more controlled. The eagle moved on the ledge, positioning. The man climbed the last stretch, muscles burning, breath tight, but focused. And then he reached the edge. Slowly, carefully. He pulled himself just enough to see, and what he saw changed everything. He didn't climb all the way up at once. He stopped just below the edge, close enough to see, far enough to stay hidden. His fingers held onto the rock, steady, controlled. Every movement slowed now. This wasn't about speed anymore. It was about timing. He lifted his head slightly, just enough, and saw it. The eagle stood on the ledge, massive, still, its wings partially folded. Its body blocked part of the view, but the shape beneath it was clear. The man it had taken was still there, alive, barely moving, but alive. The eagle adjusted its position. One step, slow, deliberate. Its head tilted, eyes locked downward, not at the sky anymore. Not scanning, focused, on the ground, on what it had taken. This was the moment. The part no one from the tribe ever saw, because no one ever made it this far. The man gripping the rock stayed still, didn't rush, didn't react, because he understood something now. If he moved wrong, it was over. Not just for the one above, for him too. The wind hit the cliff again, stronger this time. It carried loose dust across the ledge, shifting small pieces of rock. The eagle didn't move away from it. It adjusted, balanced, unshaken. The man used that. He shifted one hand, then the other, slowly pulling himself higher. Just a little more, enough to get a better angle. The eagle lowered its head slightly. Closer now, closer to finishing. The man on the ground tried to move. A weak reaction. Not enough to escape, but enough to change the timing. The eagle paused. Not out of confusion, out of precision. It was choosing the exact moment, the exact position, the exact strike. And that delay was everything. The man on the edge understood. There would not be another opening like that. Not a second one. Not a better one. This was it. He adjusted his grip, shifted his weight forward, just enough to prepare, not to attack, but to move, because what he was about to do was not something taught, not something practiced. It was something decided, and once decided, there was no going back. The eagle lifted its head slightly, a small movement, but enough to change its focus. For just a moment, it looked outward, toward the valley, toward nothing. And in that exact moment, the man moved. He didn't hesitate. There was no time for that. The moment the eagle's focus shifted, he pulled himself up and moved onto the ledge in one controlled motion. Not fast, but exact. Every movement had to be placed right, or it was over before it even began. The eagle noticed instantly. Of course it did. Something that size, something that precise, doesn't miss movement that close. Its head snapped back. Eyes locked. The space between them disappeared in a second. No warning. No sound. Just awareness. The man didn't stop. Didn't step back. Didn't try to escape. Because he already knew there was nowhere to go. Behind him was the drop. In front of him, the predator. So he did the only thing left. He moved forward. Not at it. Around it. Low. Fast. Controlled. The eagle reacted, spreading one wing slightly, adjusting its stance. Its claws tightened for a moment over the man on the ground. instinct reacting to pressure. And that was the opening. Small, but real. The man reached, not for the eagle, for the one beneath it. His hand caught the arm, slipped once, then held. He pulled, not with strength alone, with everything. Weight, balance, timing. The body moved, just enough. The eagle shifted again, now fully alert, fully engaged. This was no longer routine. This was interruption, and interruption changes everything. The bird lifted one claw slightly, adjusting, rebalancing, and in that fraction of a second, the man pulled again. Harder, faster. The trapped body slid out from under the grip, not clean, not smooth, but enough. The eagle reacted. Too late. The claws snapped down again, but caught nothing. The weight was gone. The balance shifted. The ledge wasn't wide. And now everything was unstable. The man didn't wait, didn't look back. He dragged the other body toward the edge. Not gently, not carefully, just enough to move. Because now, it wasn't about saving. It was about surviving the next second. The eagle spread its wings fully now. Massive. Violent. The air around them shifted with force. And in that moment, everything broke. There was no clean escape. No controlled retreat. Only the edge. The man pulled with everything he had left, dragging the other body toward the drop. The ground beneath them wasn't stable. Loose stones shifted, small pieces breaking away under the pressure of movement. Behind them, the eagle exploded into motion. Wings fully extended. The air cracked, a force so strong it pushed dust and fragments outward. The man didn't turn, didn't look, because he already knew. If he hesitated now, they were both dead. He reached the edge, and without stopping, he jumped, not straight down, forward, toward a lower section of rock that barely held together the side of the cliff. The impact was brutal. His body hit hard, sliding across rough stone, pulling the other man with him. The fall didn't end there. They dropped again, hitting another ledge, then rolling until friction finally stopped them. Above, the eagle screamed. For the first time. Loud. Sharp. Violent. It dove. Fast. Too fast. The man forced himself up. Pain everywhere. But moving. Always moving. He grabbed the other one again and dragged him across the narrow ledge. No time to check. No time to think. Because the shadow returned. The eagle came down hard. Closer than before. Claws reaching. Wings folding for precision. This time, it wouldn't miss. The man turned, not to run, but to face it. There was nowhere left to go. Behind him, nothing. In front, everything. The eagle closed distance. Fast. Too fast. And then, the ground shifted. Not under him, but above. A deep sound echoed through the cliff. Heavy. Moving. Not air. Not wings. Something else. The eagle hesitated. Just for a fraction of a second. And that was enough. Because over the edge above them, something appeared. Massive. Moving. A shadow larger than the predator itself. Another eagle? No. Too big. Too heavy. It dropped. Not flying. Falling. And crashed into the first one. The impact was violent. Feathers. Sound. Movement breaking in every direction. The attacking eagle was thrown off balance, forced away from the ledge, and for the first time since the beginning, it lost control. The second eagle didn't stay. It didn't fight. It didn't attack again. It only interrupted. Its wings spread wide, stabilizing after the fall, then pushing off the cliff in one powerful motion. It rose quickly, disappearing into the sky as fast as it had appeared. Gone. Just like that. The first eagle struggled to recover, wings beating hard, trying to regain control of the air. But the moment had passed. The precision was broken. The hunt was no longer perfect. It circled once. Low. Watching. Calculating. But something had changed. And then it left. Not defeated. Not injured enough to fall, but unwilling to continue. The ledge went silent. The wind returned. The man stood there, barely holding himself up, breathing hard. He looked at the one he had pulled free. Still alive. He didn't look at the sky again. Because he didn't need to. Some things don't need explanation. They just happen. And in a world where everything follows a pattern, where strength decides fate, where the sky always wins, that moment didn't make sense. It shouldn't have happened. It couldn't have happened. And yet, it did.